Button press.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are listening from. So today it's our 37th episode of the Divine Mess. So welcome everyone. If it's your first time, I would suggest maybe go back to a few episodes and see which title resonate with you. But from this year, we decided to open our virtual couch to people around the world. And today we have a very special guest, and no pressure on her at all. It's her first podcast, and we are the lucky ones that she chose to come on board. So no pressure for us and for her, just letting you know. But we are so grateful to have her on board. By the way, if it's your first time listening, again, my name is Kirti Deva Peruman, also known as Deva. I'm the cosmic guide at Heroes Mystic Holistic Life Coaching, where we help you to find your demons, fight them, slay them, and then find your true hero. And like every single week, I'm joined by my lovely co-host from another country, my neighboring country, right? Which she like to call next door.
So, of course it's next door. You're next door, right?
No, it's like 3 hours away by flight, just letting you know.
Oh, okay, I'll prepare. What's longer than that, darling? It takes 5 hours to get to Sydney. And then it's 3 hours to New Zealand. So it's a whole day. We're a day away from each other.
Neighbors.
Neighbors. So close. Super close.
That's how we found the divine mess. See, we get messy even on the time. See, we get the timing wrong. That's how
we would like it to be 3 hours. I think that's the intention, right? We would like it to be 3 hours.
You already said what you're going to win to come in New Zealand, right?
Oh, 1,000%. It's today. It's today. We said before we went to bed, our lives are going to change tomorrow. We're like, yes, bring it on. So good.
And how lucky we are recording on a day where we have someone from the luxury background. So wealth, abundance, that's what we are welcoming in. So we'll leave the floor to my co-host to do the introduction, right?
Oh, thank you, darling. So exciting. Hi, everybody. Tina Marie. Once again, joining my gorgeous friend for the 37th episode. It still blows my mind that we have been on this fabulous journey when we decided to move past our own bullshit and get started and recording a podcast. And today we are joined by the very beautiful Taylor Allen, who specialises in luxury branding and websites and getting your word out there and doing it in a juicy and delicious and beautiful way. So we are so pleased to have her join us from a little bit further than 3 hours away from us. Welcome, Taylor, to the Divine Mess. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. And that intro was so beautiful and moving. Oh my gosh. So happy to be here.
So if you would like to give us a little bit of your background and perhaps where you started out on a little bit of a spiritual journey. Was it yesterday with a slap up the backside of the head, or was it when you were in your childhood and kind of went, yes, it's there, I know it's there, but no, I'm not talking to it at the moment? How did it happen for you?
Yes, absolutely. So like you mentioned, I come from a luxury background, and I kind of learned to get out of my own way, as one would say it, for the first time I ever got laid off. And it shattered my world. I didn't know what getting fired felt like. I didn't know that people get fired regularly. I thought for my entire life I would have a 9-to-5 and that would just be it. And so I went through a really, really bad depression. I didn't know what I was doing in life. I thought that my identity was my job. And my dad, the pillar that he is in my life, forced me to read Thriving Through Uncertainty. So if you haven't read it, I would suggest buying it. It is unbelievable. And it basically, the whole message is that everything happens for a reason and nothing is certain in life. So I went on a total, I was like, I'm not getting these jobs. And I turned my whole mindset around to everything is happening for a reason. Every job I don't get is happening for a reason. And the next job I get is going to be better. So turns out a couple months went by and I got an unbelievable job, still one of my most favorite jobs that I've ever done. I worked with Tom Ford and another watch company. Yeah, and I was literally in charge of 26 states. So I was on 4 to 5 different flights a week, flying across the United States, teaching people how to sell, how to be really, really good and knowledgeable about what they're selling. And then COVID happened. So that made me once again refocus and be like, everything happens for a reason. And that's when I really dug my teeth into being an entrepreneur. I started my consulting business and I was like, nobody's going to be going to brick and mortar anymore. I need to learn how to build websites because people are going to literally live their lives by getting packages from Amazon or, ordering. I just had a girlfriend who orders her diapers off the internet. She doesn't go to Target anymore. So I was like, I need to learn this and I need to learn it well and I need to be able to sell it as a service. And so that is what I've been doing ever since. And it has been, I've owned my own agency for about 6 years. And I have been doing consulting for, over 8 to 10 years now. Yeah.
Wow, that's such an amazing, quick synopsis of obviously what I'm sure has been an amazing journey so far.
Yeah.
And so what do you now like to obviously websites is something we all are very familiar with, but what is it about what you do that makes it different? Like your client journey, what is it about it that is different for people, and where does that holistic spiritual part come into it? Because it's very easy to be very, like face only. It takes a lot to obviously get to know a client on a deeper level and what they're actually wanting to articulate rather than what they think they need to articulate.
Definitely. There is something special about working with me is there's so much psychology into building a website. It's not just throwing up a landing page and putting your products on there. There's such a mind map to it. And I always use the example of IKEA. IKEA stores are designed like a maze, so you walk through the entire store. And that's a website. You want to have buttons in certain places, you want to have forms in certain places, you want to capture information in certain places. And most people think, I'm just going to pay someone, $100 to make a landing page and call it a day. Well, you get what you pay for. So if you pay for $100, you're probably not going to get, a great return. So the psychology that I work off of when creating it is really important. But also, I have a team of interns, and I always stress to them to create something different. There's nothing worse than landing on a company's website and having it be boring. I'm so sick of all the neutrals and the cursive font that you see on Instagram every day. I'm so sick of it. Oh, it's so boring. So something, that's different about us. We do the psychology and we just do funky stuff. Like you will never see a boring website that I create. And that's why I really do deep dive into what my clients want. We do vision boards, we do timelines. We really figure about what they like about, things that are drawn to them. So it's really interesting to see, them go through this spiritual journey that I kind of prompted. And I'll get messages late at night that's like, oh my gosh, I'm so inspired. I never knew like doing a website would get me inspired. And I was like, yes, that is exactly what we want. That is what we want. So yeah, that's kind of what sets us apart from everybody else.
Mr. D, got questions you want to ask?
Well, there's a lot of question, like in what Taylor shared. So thank you for that. Like you're taking like building a website from another perspective, which I really enjoy, like like listening to you, how you really listen to your clients, like how you're listening to your clients. So how do you, like for me, like when you said like your dad gave you the book, I'm just going back in time,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
that's okay with you.
Ab-
The book Thriving Under Uncertainty, right?
Yep,
Thriving
through
through uncertainty. Yeah.
Yeah. And so how do you thrive now under uncertainty? Like how do you do it now? Like compared from back then.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it is something that I really have to reflect on 7 days a week. Being an entrepreneur and owning an agency, it is tough to get clients. It is word of mouth isn't as strong as it, used to be because there's just the market is very saturated. So it's grinding to get your next customer and your next client and, make sure you're working with good quality people. And there's a lot of uncertainty about, my business in the next 6 months. We are faced every day with like AI and chat GPT, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, robots and computers are going to take over the world. And I'm like, you know what? We either jump on and, jump on board or just live in fear. And that's something that I think about 7 days a week. And so I'm thriving through the uncertainty of what's going to happen in the digital landscape. And it's terrifying. But you can embrace those changes, and, you have to think of the beautiful things that computers are going to be doing. They're going to be helping cure sicknesses and, just really great things that technology does. So it's reminding myself that everything's going to be okay. And, every no is just a redirection.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. It's like saying no is like the next opportunity, right? When a client
correct,
tells you
sir.
no,
Absolutely.
it's like
Yeah.
next opportunity. But
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
how was it like for you when like you sign up your first client? How was it for you? How did you feel?
Yes. Well, actually, can I answer a different question? Can I answer how was it when I signed my favorite client?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Go for it.
That was so my first client, obviously that was incredible. I was just like, oh my gosh, am I a business owner? Like I had very bad imposter syndrome. I feel like in women, especially, like I always talk with my girlfriends and they always say I have such bad imposter syndrome, and I just want to get rid of that so much. I want to get rid of it in the workforce. But my favorite client, he actually ended up being one of my best friends. It was right when I moved to San Diego. I told myself I will become a surfer. And within the first week, I booked my first surf lesson. And it was the middle of December. It was so cold. I couldn't feel my hands or my feet. And I was like, what am I doing to myself? But he made me buy a package of 3. So I had to keep going. And we ended up getting to talking, and I said, do you have a website? How are you promoting yourself? And he's like, I don't. So I said, let's make a deal. I will build your website and you can teach me how to surf. So to this day, it's been 3.5 years. I still work on his website and we go surfing once a month. And I've never seen someone jump into being a business owner so much as him. He is always making flyers, new business cards. He's always like, Taylor, how do I upload pictures to the website? And he just sunk his teeth into this website. And we still to this day, we have the most fun. And it's, it might not be the best monetarily, but it is so rewarding because he'll text me and he'll be like, I just got a lesson of 6 people from the website. And it's just so, I can sleep good at night knowing that I helped him create that business.
But it's interesting too. I think when we go into a process more along the lines of being in service to somebody rather than being financial gain is awesome, because as humans we need money because there's bills to pay and all the rest of it. But I think there's a great deal of satisfaction that comes from being in service and seeing somebody else succeed because you've acted as a catalyst in terms of helping them with a website or getting them to see that a relationship is not particularly healthy, or helping them get a promotion or get that job that they desperately wanted, or whatever it happens to be. But you were kind of a missing piece for them to see it in a different way, for them then to go on to be successful. I think there's nothing greater than that when you're in service of somebody else. It just is very rewarding. Obviously the financial rewards come a little bit later on. They don't necessarily come front facing, but for him to then go and speak to everyone and say, Taylor was amazing and she's done everything for me and this is how it's all worked, that referral network will provide the abundance further on down the track. It's sowing all those seeds with those people that then comes back and you manage to reap the rewards out of it as you go along.
Definitely. And the community, the surf community, especially in San Diego, is very, very tiny. So I've just gotten to know other incredible business owners through it. And like you said, the referrals and just people being genuine in their connections is really, really special in this little town and community. And obviously, I always want to, think bigger. But it is special to know that you have a community backing you up.
Yeah. So are you in San Diego proper, or where are you?
I'm actually in North County, so I'm about 40 minutes north. It's a little town, Encinitas.
Oh, yeah. I've been to Encinitas before.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's heaven on earth here, and to, contribute to this local community, even if it's, shopping at the farmer's market, you're still putting money into a tiny community, not, big New York City or Chicago. It's a little tiny coastal city that you're putting your money back into. So it feels special.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful. Like
It is.
I don't think people realize what, it is like a little town where everybody knows everybody, and coffee's great. And we went to a really fabulous seafood restaurant where the husband was the chef and his wife was the pastry cook, and she made this most incredible creme brulee that had chocolate sauce and not salted caramel sauce. I was like, oh, I could live here just and eat that all the time. I would need to swim and surf every day to ensure that I could do that, though.
Yes.
So just a left of center question in terms of spiritual practice for you. Are you, an advocate of yoga, meditation, journaling? What's your practice in terms of getting in contact with your helpers that aren't exactly seen?
This is one of my favorite questions. I actually meditate 7 days a week. My dad is Buddhist, and he, taught me you have to silence your mind and really get to that point to be productive. And I meditate 7 days a week, the longest I can go. Right now, being in practice probably for a strong 2 years is 45 to an hour. And then I get a little fidgety. But it really is, it's incredible to see what happens when you don't meditate. It is, I get a little squirrely. Like I'm just like, I haven't silenced my mind, and it's so important. And, people make fun of it, or, I'll play a track when I'm just like feeling down about my finances, or just, missing a friend that passed away, and you just play it and you're like, you know what? There are so many other forces going on in the world other than physical ones. And it's just nice to be reminded of that every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We are a great lover of tarot cards and having quiet chats with our guides and angels. And the spirit numbers come up on a regular basis. I normally
Oh,
send
I love it.
I send David photos from when I go to the gym in the morning, and there'll be number plates. There'll be 555 here, and there'll be 111 there, and I said to him, they keep talking to me, but sometimes, a clear direction and message would be very helpful.
It really would. It really would.
But then perhaps maybe I just need to do your trick and silence my mind and not act so squirrely, and then it might become a little clearer. So
Yeah.
have you had any sorry, go on, Dee.
No.
No,
It's,
I was just
I was saying like, okay,
This
you go on.
is like a traffic jam. Go.
No, I was saying like that's impressive, like to go 45 minutes and 1 hour, even without moving. And in 2 years, that's impressive feat. So good on you. And like you talk about the imposter syndrome. And like as a woman who started her own business, and like in our audience, there are women listening right now, and they might be wondering, like, for them, like having those fears, maybe they are feeling just like you did, like, and how did you shift? Like how did you shift and decided, what, I'm going for it?
Yeah. It's funny that you asked that right after my previous question, because meditation helped so much.
Mhm.
I kept getting the message that you are here because of your hard work and everything you've put into it. And I listened to that. I have been through, pardon my French, but hell and back, and I deserve everything that I get right now. And it's because of my hard work. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day, and nothing is handed to me. And I take courses and I challenge myself. I go to networking events, and it's gonna pay off. It might not feel like it right now, or tomorrow, but it will. And I just said to myself, I was like, you deserve everything that's coming to you. And another thing with the meditation is, when I do finance meditations and money meditations, they always say, I deserve this money that's coming to me, and I will feel comfortable with large sums of money coming to me. And I think with imposter syndrome, it's always kind of very like freaky, like, oh, do I deserve to get this much money? Like, yes. And with meditation, I would, repeat those mantras and, you know, say to myself, I do deserve this. So it's a lot about self-proclamation and saying, you know what, I do deserve this. I've worked my little butt off, and I do deserve what's coming.
Mm. And it's a lot about value. It's your value proposition that you see for yourself, not how other people see you, because most other
Yeah.
people would meet you and go, oh my God, she's got an amazing skill set, and I'm prepared to pay her as much as she asks me for. But the problem is how we go about the asking. Like you would be brilliant, obviously, selling someone else's product because there's no risk in it, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to sell, whether it be shoes or handbags or watches or whatever it is, because it's a product and it has boundaries, and it has features and benefits and those sorts of things. But when we're selling ourselves and a service that we provide, sales start to feel icky. Like it feels
Totally.
really uncomfortable, and your words get trapped in your mouth. And particularly when you go to do the networking events, and you've got to have your elevator pitch, and it needs to feel like it flows smoothly from your mouth. And I don't know about you, but I've done a lot of elevator pitches over the last 7 or 8 years, and it can be very uncomfortable, because you're not the wingman to Tom Ford, or you're not the wingman to, let's say Karl Lagerfeld, or, Valentino or something like that, because there is less of a risk. But when you're the lead singer and you're standing up there and you're having to, wave your tassels and say, I'm bloody awesome at what I do, and you need to buy from me, because if you don't, you're going to end up with a crappy website, and people won't see the luxury or the sexiness in your product if I don't do it for you. Then they go, it's almost like your angels go,
Yeah.
we
Yes.
we got her to 3/4 to the way to the top of the mountain, and she just bloody rolled downhill. So let's just back up the Ferrari and the lotto win and all the rest of it.
Yes.
Let's start again.
No, it's very exhausting. And but there is a satisfaction to it. You know, when you are successful in a sale and someone goes, "I'm so excited to get started. You know, I have put my hard-earned money into this, into you, and we're investing in your agency." It makes me feel so good. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, they trusted me." And I also feel good because I'm like, I'm good at what I do. Like what they're gonna get is gonna make them money. It's gonna help them sleep better, and they're gonna feel good. So it's not only that, you I know I'm doing good, but it's like they feel good too. And it once the sale is complete, it is a good feeling.
Do that little, small business
Yeah,
owner
yeah,
happy dance and going,
yeah.
yes, this just paid for my mortgage, and yes, I can go out for dinner this week and all that sort of stuff,
Right,
which,
right.
big box retailers and, big businesses, I don't think there's that energetic exchange at the end. Like it is just very cut and dry. Whereas for all of us that are in some sort of product and service game and we're starting from the ground floor, essentially, there's that happy dance. Every time someone says yes to us, that they come on board and sign on and say, yes, they're going to be a client, and that they go through the program, or they've had an hour-long conversation, or they ring you and go, I just won your Christmas voucher from the Women's Networking and I'm so excited and I can't wait. When can we book in? And you're like, oh, hang on. Their enthusiasm is sometimes overwhelming because you feel like you're constantly mining and there's nothing. And then all of a sudden you get this explosion of gratitude and appreciation from someone going, yay, I found you. Yes, you're my human and you're going to do these amazing things for me. That in itself is enough for you to go, yep, job done today. I feel very good about myself. And so then I think it makes it easier to then go on to the next one and go, yep, I could probably charge a bit more because I probably undercharged that time. And, so your value for your own product and service and the value for your own abilities and what you bring to the table grows exponentially with every person that comes on board, that you can see that they're getting their ROI. So you in turn are getting your personal ROI rewarded all the time. Yeah.
Yes. And it is very interesting because with pricing, especially as a consultant, it could get a little gray sometimes. And if I didn't do this for so long, I would be lost with my pricing. There are so many, people that there's so many people that overcharge for skills that they're not good at or services they're not good at. And it's scary because, you see older people getting taken advantage of, and, small businesses getting taken advantage of. And it's the pricing model of services like, branding and website. It's very gray, like I said, but there are, with experience and returns, and you can see numbers, you just feel good about your pricing. I never feel like I'm overcharging anybody. I always am very, very fair. I know exactly what I do down to the minute, down to the dollar. So my pricing is always fair, and it's something that I really pride myself on because it took me a long time to get there.
Yeah. And that, like I said, that value proposition, not only
Yes.
for yourself, but what you provide for your clients, that even if they are a small business, that they deserve a little bit of luxury too. Like,
Totally.
they deserve to have something that feels beautiful and engages the senses and brings people in on a regular basis. So this, honestly, I've had so many dealings with website companies, and they've all ended up like Dick Dastardly, you know, with the mustache and, you know, like the evil laughter
I was
and
just
like,
gonna say the evil laugh.
yeah, like, oh goody, I got her money, fabulous. Like,
It's terrible. It really is terrible.
yeah, and you're putting your trust in someone because
Yeah.
it's your livelihood. You're literally putting your livelihood in their lap and
Yes.
saying, build me something that is going to entice people to want to come and have a conversation with me. And
Yes.
when that doesn't happen, it's really disappointing because you've kind of got no comeback. You know, there's no
Right.
there's no 30-day return on a
I was just
shitty
gonna say no
website.
return. Yeah. Yes, yes. It's tough. It is very, very tough. And
Um,
the other thing too about small businesses, I always think of the quote, you know, when you buy something from a small business, you're paying for your daughter's, you know, ballet practice, or you're paying for a family's dinner. And it's just so sad, you know, when you go to those big companies, that dollar means nothing.
Yeah.
But smaller companies, it goes so much further. So I'm so big into local businesses, small brands, and turning them into luxury experiences.
But are you like open, you know, like because most of our audience like are international people, you know, like they
Yeah.
might be wondering like how can they connect with you? Are you open to work with international as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. You know, the internet is all over the entire world. So, we can translate very easily. And yes, I would love international clients.
Yeah, because I feel like you will tailor to their needs, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we
Yeah.
always do market research. We always, you know, do competitor research. So we can apply that to anything in all over the world.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love like how you shared, you know, like how you're open and vulnerable about, you know, like how you feel, how you felt, and now how are you navigating through that journey of entrepreneur, because not everyone will want to do that because there's like that uncertainty, you know, like you talk about the money blocks, you know, like every single day, right? Like you discuss about that, and I found that beautiful that you shared about your, you know, like your affirmation, you know, like how you navigate through that. It's like there's a lot of golden nuggets in what you shared, you know, like I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed listening, you know, like how you really changed my perspective on building a website. Like honestly, like yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it is a lot goes into it. So it's exciting to talk about too.
Mm. Because you know like we take so for granted, you know, like you go on, we just Google now, you know, like everything we just Google, and we take
Right.
those little things like for granted, but we don't know, like you talk about the psychology, you know, like uh behind the website. I find that really fascinating. Yeah, that you're
Yes.
into that as well. Yeah.
And then alongside the, you know, website comes the branding too. And I had a client call this morning and I asked him, he wanted me to set up all of his social media accounts. And which is something we do as a service, you know, it takes a lot of time to set it up. Some business owners just don't want to do it. So I said, okay, well, do you have your brand kit, which is, you know, we can use and it'll help speed everything up. And he said, what is branding? So it's a lot of businesses and companies don't have branding, and it is so important because it's the foundation of a business. If something is off brand, you could really mess up your business and your message to your customer. So I said, well, it's, you know, your fonts, your colors, your logo. And he goes, oh, yeah, I don't have that. I said, okay, well, we should probably start with that. And then we can set up your social media account, which depends on all of your branding. So branding is something that we specialize in too. And it is, you know, if you have good branding, you have a good website. So they kind of do go hand in hand. But there's the psychology behind branding. And if you really knock those out of the ballpark, you're sitting very pretty.
Because it
Yeah,
is so
so
radically important, isn't it? Like every,
it is.
you
Yeah.
could try and take a deep dive on Canva and have a
Y-
crack at it yourself.
Yes.
Like, and I can appreciate a lot of small businesses do that because they simply don't have the funds to do it.
Correct.
But like you said, it's inundated with neutrals and flowing fonts, and it's a bit like when I look at houses and I just go,
Oh my gosh, in 10 years, everything is going to be so boring. I'm so done with the matte black and the matte blue. I want to see some tiles. I want to see some cool doors. I want to see design.
yeah,
I want to see like when I'm in a foreign country and everything, the cathedrals and the painted ceilings. So I think of that, when I'm making a website, that nothing's going to be boring that we ever create.
correct, absolutely.
I can get that from your energy. Like because you like the funky, you said, and I think like coming from a surfer town, that does help as well, right?
Because it's
Yes.
such a mix, isn't it? Like in there's that whole South American influence and the coastal influence and, textures and all sorts of things. It's just so lovely. And when you get these boring beige everything and you go, wake up, people.
Yeah.
There's color and all sorts of beauty in this world, and you want to be boring and beige. It's not what life is meant to be about, right?
No, 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 it's not. Yep, we got to add some color.
Some color and some luxury and some softness and some
Texture.
presence, just
Yes.
for people to take up space. I think that's the biggest challenge with so many things, is that people are afraid of taking their rightful space. And by doing things like branding and creating a website, you're having to extract people out of their beige cardigans and make them think differently about themselves and their product and what they want to offer and how they want to offer it and the type of people they want to attract to themselves. Because quite frankly, you could attract the rest of the beige and the boring if you really wanted to, and that
Yeah.
would be consistent and normal and okay. But what happens if you got something grand and magnificent and
Different.
that different, and that client that made you think hard, and you had to put a different level of work and intention and that sort of thing into it, so in the end they get to embody who they truly want to be and not be the wallflowers that they think they have to be.
Yes. Yeah, I think the taking up space is very important when you own a business. This is a legacy that you're going to leave behind, and not everybody gets to be a business owner. A lot of people work for other people their entire lives. So if you are starting a brand or starting a company, it's something that, it might not be successful in 30 years, but hey, at least you did it. And you
Tried.
Exactly. Yes, you invested in yourself, which is something that, I've probably invested too much in myself, but I will never regret any penny that I ever put into my business or anything, because it is a chance on myself.
Yeah, but when I think it's a big risk that most people aren't prepared to take, is investing in themselves, whether it's through spending 45 minutes meditating every day, or whether it is picking up a new book that they've never read before, or whether it's signing on with a coach, or whether it's, investing in their business by doing a really great website and doing their branding and all of those sorts of things. It's investing in them and their own success. And for a lot of people, that's a very scary path to walk down, because it's safe eating meat and potatoes and 3 veggies, right? It's safe staying same all the time. But when we put an element of risk and uncertainty into our lives, it means that the ground gets a little unstable and you don't know where you're walking. So take some risk, people. Add a bit of colour into your life. Have a little bit of fun. Try something new. And if you don't like it, that's okay. You can
Yeah.
put the car in reverse and turn around and go in the opposite direction. You don't have to keep traveling that way, but at least you tried. And I think that's the biggest bit out of all of it that I've taken away from you today, is that you
Yes.
have to try. You have to at least give it a go, and give it a good red hot go. Not give it a go for a week and go, I don't really like that and it makes me feel uncomfortable. Do it for a little bit longer to see what's potentially possible.
Yes. And more often than not, you're going to be very happy with the outcome versus if you just didn't try at all.
Correct. Absolutely. Well, we are so very, very grateful that you
Yes.
have chosen your first podcast as our podcast and been welcomed onto the Divine Mess Couch. And
Oh,
we've
this
loved
is
having
lovely.
a conversation with you and learning a little bit more about you. And so hilariously funny that I have been to your part of the world and
I
loved
know.
it. So thank you once again for coming and joining us. And for those who want some more information about Taylor and how she can tailor something beautiful for you and your business, jump on the show notes for the podcast and you will find all of her details, and go try something different, people. You never know what you're going to get. And I'll handball it across the other side of the country and across the ocean to my friend, and
Well,
I will let him wrap up.
before that, we'll give Taylor, like, if you have another, like, insight to share before we wrap it up, like, to add more colors to our life.
Oh my gosh, putting me on the spot. I would say, yes, I would say the harp on, what your co-host said, just try something different. And if you're scared, you can always go back to being, what you were before, but try something different. If you want to start a business, do it. Invest in yourself, and there's going to be people that are going to help you along the way. Take the help. There's so many resources. There are so many communities. It takes a village to do things. And your community has a library, you have the internet. So if you're scared, there are people that are going to help you, and you're going to be happy that you took a chance.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much, like, for coming with us, like, for your first podcast. We are really honored and grateful for that. Like, everyone who listened till the end, like, they will understand, take a chance on you, like, take a chance on themselves, and also
Yes.
add some colors. I love that. Add some colors to your life, make it funky, like Taylor
Funky.
said. So thank you so much for coming
Thank
on board.
you.
Thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you next week where we'll have more guests coming in, and we do have a lineup for that. So it started off with Taylor. She's the first one who came on board. So thank you so much for that. We'll see you.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care. Bye.
Bye.